Hey, you. I'm talking to you. I want you to understand that when God gives me messages, that it may not be for everybody. It may be for one person. So if it doesn't apply to you, that's all right. Still be positive because the movement of God is up in this place. And I'm talking to you. Hey, you, the one that's been struggling, the one that don't even feel like God really exists, the one that has been literally walking with God and you're wondering if God is real. I want you to understand that indeed he is. And sometimes we have not fine-tuned our mind enough to the frequency of heaven to understand that God is concerned about everything regarding you. I want you to understand that I don't like people even in my business, but I want you to know that God is always entwined, intermingled, all up in your business. I want you to understand that he took his time creating you to do a good work, and it's his will for you to see it to completion. So it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. Hey, you, it's you. You know I'm talking to you. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't even matter how difficult your situation is. It doesn't even matter if you standing there alone and you just don't know how you're going to make it. I want you to understand that your uncertainties guarantees that you're going to receive everything that God has promised you. Did you catch that? Did you catch what I just said? Because that came from heaven. Let me repeat that one more time. It is when you have uncertainties in your life, it is guaranteed that you're going to get everything that God has promised you. I want to just say that one more time. Oh, I feel the Spirit of the Lord up in this car. When you have uncertainties in your life, it is guaranteed that you're going to receive everything that God has promised you. Now, why would I say something that crazy? Because we have a God that operates outside of human logic. I want you to understand that there's no pleasing God without faith. I want you to know that faith is something that seems uncertain, but it's your level of faith that will go out into this atmosphere and begin to clothe everything that God has promised you. It is your job to stay consistent in your spiritual practices until you see what you prayed for show up. Because I want you to understand that if you on shaky ground today, that's a good spot, because the reason why you're on shaky ground is so God can be found in your life to stabilize the ground that you're standing on. I want you to understand that God is a stabilizer of uncertain things. I want you to understand that God works best in your situations when you're uncertain, because when you're uncertain in your situation, that means that you've come to the end of your control. You've come to the end of your ability. You've come to the end of even a thought thinking that you can change your own life around. I want you to understand that the mere fact that you're standing here today and that you started in a bag of water that you should have drowned in is proof of God's miraculous power in this dimension. Don't ever think because you're in the midst of storms. Don't ever think because you don't see the end to your dilemma. Don't ever think because all hell is broken loose around you. Don't ever think because you're uncertain that God cannot perform a miracle through you. You have to understand that you have to become the vessel. You have to become the container. You have to become the storage place where God can download his spirit inside of you. Once you can accept the fact that you are only like a funnel that God uses to breathe in, to move through, and in and outside of you, then it's guaranteed that that uncertainty will materialize and show up in your life for you. So what am I saying? Work on your faith. What am I saying? Work on your attitude, because it'll bring about altitude, a destruction in your life. What am I saying? You need to develop a personal relationship with God outside of man's religion. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that you need to get to know the Father a little bit better fine tune your mind to the frequency of heaven. Well, how do I do that? You do that through reading the word of God. You do that through getting alone and still and just resting in the presence of God. You do that by meditating on the good things that God has said in his word, that he has said about you. And when you begin to do those things, you will begin to observe the observer that's living in your environment and also on the inside of you. You were created to bring about a change. You are a creator in this environment. Your insecurities is proof that you will receive everything that God has promised you. And until the next video, guys, peace, because I believe in you. Bye now.